Hello and welcome to another Cambly Live session. I see on the chat that a lot of people are already saying hello. Please, if you're watching, send a message, say hello, and tell us where you are from. I see people here saying hello from Peru, hello from Bangladesh, Azerbaijan, Kolkata, Turkey, Canada. Please carry on, tell us where you're from. Welcome to our latest Cambly Live session. I am teacher Daryl. To those of you that don't know, Cambly is a great place to get one-on-one lessons with teachers just like me in anything you need in English. I will explain a bit more later. Also, please stay for the end of the video. I will be giving a special discount code that you can use straight away. I see more messages coming through. Hello from Saudi Arabia. Hello from Morocco. Hello from the Philippines, Kazakhstan. Again, thank you for joining us today. So, what are we doing today? We are doing a grammar lesson, and today we are focusing on adverbs of degree. Some of you may not know what that means, but I bet that you are using adverbs of degree in almost every conversation. And today we're going to show you how to use many more and how you can expand your expression, expand your vocabulary. So this is actually a really useful and really important part of English grammar. Also, today is an interactive lesson. If you have any questions about adverbs of degree or what we're doing in class, please send a message in the chat. I will be stopping several times trying to answer some questions. I will also be giving you some words, some exercises, so that you can send through sentences to make sure you are using these correctly. So today's going to be a fun lesson. So let's take a look at what we are doing today in class. So we're going to start with defining what adverbs of degree are. What are they? And then we're going to look at why they are important, why you should use them, why you should even worry about them. We're going to look at how to use them properly, where to put them in a sentence, and then we're going to look at how you can make your own, because there are some adverbs of degree that you can make. So we're going to look at that. A very important thing we're going to look at is common mistakes that occur with adverbs of degree. And we're going to finish off by looking at the different levels of adverbs of degree, from the little intensity up to something very intense. I see some more messages coming through from Sudan, from Afghanistan, Pakistan, Omaha, India. Again, thank you and welcome. All right, so let us start with what are adverbs of degree. And to make this easy, I'm going to write down some very common adverbs of degree that you are using all the time. Let's write them down. They are words like very, to, so, almost. So you are often saying something is very cold, or I am too tired, or I am so happy, or I am almost finished. All of those words are adverbs of degree. They are telling us the level of something. Is it a small level, or is it a high level? Is it cold, or is it very cold, or is it so cold? So you're using adverbs of degree all the time. So that is what they are. They tell us the level, the amount, the power, the intensity of something. And from that, you can see straight away why they are important. Because firstly, these words, although They are fine. They are good. If that is the only way you are describing things, it's limiting. You want more words. You want to expand the way you can express yourself in English. You want to expand your vocabulary. You also want to be able to accurately say where the level is. Is it cold? Is it very cold? Where is very cold? Is that here or is it here? So it's very important to have different words to describe all those different levels. And that's what we're going to be doing later on when we look at the different levels. You're going to learn all types of words that are going to be very useful to you. Why else should you use them? If you are giving speeches, whether it is a company presentation or an English proficiency exam, again, you want more variety in what you're saying. You don't want to just use very, to, so, and almost all the time. It's not enough. You want more so that your speeches and your presentations also go up a level. So that is why you want to use them. And straight away, let's look at where they go in a sentence. All right. So to do that, let's write down a very simple sentence using the adverbs of degree that we already have. So I'm just going to say, it was very cold. It was very cold. What is cold? That is an adjective. So the first place where an adverb of degree can go is before an adjective. It was very cold. It was so cold. It was too cold. It was amazingly cold. It was extremely cold. Already you can see how adverbs of degree can be more fun than just saying very. So there it is, before an adjective. We can also put it before the main verb. Let's write down a sentence. I was almost finished. So finished is the main verb. We know was is an auxiliary verb. We won't worry about that. But finished is the main verb. So it goes before the main verb. I was almost finished. And obviously you can see that you can't use the same adverbs in different circumstances. I can't say, I was very finished. Doesn't sound right. That's why we need other words. I was completely finished. I was exhaustingly finished. We could make all kinds of fun figurative sentences with adverbs of degree. Obviously, this is English, and you know that there are always going to be exceptions. So yes, usually an adverb of degree goes before the adjective or before the main verb. Sometimes it can go at the end of a sentence. Let's write one. I enjoyed it immensely. I enjoyed it immensely. Immense is already one of the new adverbs of degree, maybe new to you. That is much better than saying I enjoyed it very much, which is fine, but you want to expand. So I enjoyed it immensely. So that is at the end of the sentence. And again, it's only for certain adverbs of degree that we can do that. I couldn't say I enjoyed it very. I would need an extra word. I couldn't say I enjoyed it almost. I would need something extra. So some words, and we'll talk about them when we look at the next section, some words we can put at the end of the sentence. Now, before we move on, let me give you some homework for the next 5 minutes. So I've got two adverbs of degree here. We've got absolutely and somewhat. Absolutely and somewhat. Somehow. Absolutely and somehow. What I want you to do I'm going to stop probably just before common mistakes to take some questions. I would like you to send through some sentences using these. You can see how to use it already. You've got 3 examples here, so I'd like you to send through some sentences. I will leave them there. This is important so that we can see if there are mistakes that you're making and make sure you're using them correctly. All right, so we're going to stop in a few minutes, take some questions, and go through the homework. Let's go to the next section, how to make adverbs of degree. Now, what does it mean? How can you make up a word? Adverbs of degree are special in the fact that there can be many, many different types. And we can often take an adjective that already exists and we can change it into an adverb of degree. How do we do it? So we take an adjective and we add ly to the end of it. We add ly to the end. Let's look at an example. Let's take the word huge. Huge is an adjective. The mountain is huge. And we can change it into an adverb of degree, hugely. I was hugely embarrassed. It was hugely upsetting. So we've taken an adjective and we've made it into an adverb of degree by adding ly. Let's do another one. Let's take another very common adjective, beautiful. And obviously, how am I going to do this? I'm going to just add ly, and this will become beautifully. The painting was finished beautifully, or it was beautifully finished. Much better than saying it was a nice painting, or it was a good painting. Again, you can see how this is expanding your way of expressing yourself. Now, how can you do this for any adjective? Well, you can't do it for every single adjective. There are always going to be some that won't work. I would suggest work with adjectives that you know already. Add the ly and then check online. Is that a word that exists? Can I use that word? And by that, you can start to expand your vocabulary. And you can say it was, you could even start to be poetic and say it was beautifully cold. You can see again that adverbs of degree really can create interesting sentences and interesting structures. So that is how to make your own adverbs of degree. All right, I'm going to come to the chat to see if you guys have sent through some sentences and if there are any questions. I still see people saying hello, which is great. So let's see if anyone sent any sentences yet. I do see a question, so let's answer the question first. And this is, we were going to discuss it under common mistakes anyway. Someone has asked, what do we do about the word, and I'm going to put it over here. What do we do about the word hard and hardly? And this is a very good question, because what we've said is you can take an adjective, make it into a new adverb by adding ly. And commonly people take the word hard and they talk about hardly. And this, unfortunately, is a mistake. So let's make a sentence to show how we should be using hardly. Now, hard, obviously, people use when they describe how they do work. So they would say, I work hard. I work hard. And when people want to say that they are putting in a lot of effort, they often say, I hardly work. This is a common mistake that non-natives make. And this actually has the opposite meaning. This means that you don't work. This whole sentence means you don't work. So if you say, I hardly work, it means I don't do anything. And I know it seems like it should be an intensifier for hard, but it just doesn't work that way. So we have to stick with the word hard. We could say, I work immensely hard. We could say, I work very hard. We could say, I work completely hard. We could use another adverb of degree added in there. That was a very good question. Let me see if anyone sent any sentences. Someone sent through, I absolutely agree. Thank you, Francisco Kian. I hope I pronounced that right. What else? All right. If you have more sentences, please send them through. I've got some other exercises that I'd like you to do. So we've got now the word dearly and the word immensely. The word dearly and the word immensely. All right, let's go to common mistakes that occur with adverbs of degree. So the first common mistake is a very versus to. And what do they mean? Very is a fact. It is a fact. It was very cold. That is a fact. But it doesn't tell us if that was if it was a bad thing or if it was a good thing. Very is subjective. So it is a fact. To is a problem. There is some kind of problem that is happening. If I say it was too cold, that could mean it was a problem for me. It was a problem for the car. It was a problem for the people. It implies that there was a problem that was happening. So remember, when you're using very or to, think about the situation. Was it a fact? It was very cold. Or was it a problem for you or the people involved? It was too cold. It was too much. It was too exhausting. It was a problem. And then we have enough. Now, enough is one of the adverbs of degree that go at the end of the sentence. Let me write a sentence. Let's say the house was big enough. The house was big enough. We could also say, I have enough bread. So now we've got it at the end of a sentence and before a noun. I thought that was an adjective for a second, but bread is not an adjective. So we can see that enough, there's something happening. There's something we have to think about and be aware of. So if it is an adjective, usually it's going to go at the end of the sentence. The house was big enough. It was small enough. It was wide enough. It was beautiful enough. So if it's an adjective, we usually put it at the end. If it's a noun, then we can put enough before the noun, because now it's functioning more as a description of the bread, not as a description of the adjective. So that is enough, one of the little mistakes that can occur. And final mistake that we have is negative adverbs of degree. Now, what does that mean, a negative adverb of degree? This is actually another way to push your expression and your vocabulary. We can take a lot of the adverbs of degree and we can add the word not onto them, and they become an entirely new expression. Let's write down a sentence. So we can say, it was not immensely satisfying. So and now, instead of saying, yes, it was satisfying and I was happy about it, I've added in the word not. And instead of saying it wasn't good, I didn't like it, I've said it was not immensely satisfying. It was not immensely good. It was not immensely bad. Already, you've taken your English to another level just by now using one adverb of degree and adding on the not onto it. So why is this under common mistakes? Because people forget that they can do this. People will use a simpler term when they should be pushing themselves a little bit and using these adverbs of degree to give themselves more expression. All right, let's go back to the chat and see if there's anybody that's done immensely or dearly. All right, someone sent through, I absolutely enjoyed it. Very nice. Thank you, Ariani Woba. I hope I said that right. Let's say it was dearly cool. My gift was immensely. So for that, we've got my gift was immensely. We need an extra adjective there. We could say my gift was immensely amazing, or my gift was immensely fantastic. We could combine all kinds of adjectives there. Then I'm spending an immensely moment right now. So I think someone wants to say I'm spending an immensely good moment right now. Remember from what we've said over here that adverbs of degree are modifying something. So they're modifying an adjective or a main verb, or they're modifying here also a main verb. So an adverb of degree, and it's good that this has been sent through, an adverb of degree cannot be by itself. We can't say it was immensely. We can say it was immense. That is a different adjective. So if we're using an adverb of degree, it is modifying an adjective, modifying a main verb. So remember that, very, very important. And sometimes it can modify a noun as well, as in enough. But we need that extra element there. All right. So now that we've done all of that, let's go on to the different levels. So here, I'm going to be giving you a lot of different adverbs of degree. I'm going to try to give a sentence for some of them. If you miss some, I'm going to hold them on the screen, so don't worry. You can come back, watch the video again, write them down. We're going to start at the bottom and move up through the different levels from a small amount up to a big amount. So something that was a little, that's where we're going to start, to something that is very intense. So let's start. This is the first one. It is a bit. A bit. So what do we have? This is at the bottom level. Examples are a little. So we could say it was a little upsetting. It's a good way to describe that. Something happened. It wasn't the worst day of your life, but it was a little upsetting. We could even add a bit. It was a bit upsetting. We could even combine the two. It was a little bit upsetting. And slightly. Slightly is a very nice way to describe something. It was slightly good. In other words, it wasn't the worst thing I'd seen, but it was slightly good. It was slightly bad. It's a word to describe the low level. So that is slightly, a little, and a bit. Let's go to the next level now. The next level is over here, kind of intense. So something is not small anymore, but it's not big, kind of in the middle. So what do we have? Fairly. Some of these are really fun to use. We can say it was fairly difficult. So it wasn't very difficult. It wasn't so difficult that you couldn't do it. It was fairly difficult. It was challenging. Rather. Rather is a very nice way to describe something as well. In that middle area, it was rather good. So you kind of enjoyed it. It wasn't the best thing you have seen, but it was rather good. Somewhat, it was somewhat good. It was somewhat difficult. Noticeably. Noticeably is a fun word. Noticeably means you could feel there was a change there. It wasn't here, it wasn't there. It was noticeably good. It was noticeably difficult. You could feel it. And then we've got narrowly and even sort of. The phrase sort of can be used as an adverb of degree. So that's over here. Let's move on. Almost at the top, not quite at the top. And this is things that are intense. All right, so this is stuff that's over here. Awfully. We often talk about this. We can say it was awfully good or it was awfully bad. So even though the word is awful, and if you know the word, it means bad, here, used as an adverb of degree, it's just the level. It's not good or bad. It's just the level. So it was awfully good. It was awfully difficult. It was awfully fun, describing a lot of different things. Then pretty. We often use this. It's a very common expression. It was pretty good. It was pretty nice. It was pretty difficult. So again, we're at this level. It wasn't down here. It wasn't a little difficult. It was pretty difficult. It took some effort. And then really, I'm sure you guys are using really a lot. So now you know it's at this level. It's pretty high up. And then quite. Another way to kind of describe this level is it was quite good. It was quite difficult. It was quite fun. It was quite bad. And remember that all of these and all of the ones that we looked at before, we can make negative by adding a not onto them. So it was not awfully good. It was not really good. It was not quite, might not work with the not, but don't forget to try. So not awfully good, not really that good. Again, expanding your expression. So now we're there. We're going to jump up now to the final level when something is very intense, very intense. So we've got totally. It was totally good. Its entire thing was good. You know, you're talking about something that is really good. It was completely finished, or I was completely exhausted. I was, like we used before, I absolutely agree. I'm right here when I agree. It was absolutely fantastic and perfectly. It was perfectly wonderful. Again, we're right here at that top. And utterly. Utterly is another great word. It was utterly good. And don't forget, for a lot of these, you can use not and say, it was not completely finished. So there was a problem there, or it was not perfectly good. So again, you're saying it wasn't really there. It wasn't that good because it wasn't perfectly good. So there, again, a lot of nice adverbs of degree. All right. So for the end of our lesson, let's just go over what we've done and revise the important things to do with adverbs of degree. Firstly, remember, what are they? They are describing the level of something, whether it is a low level or a high level or in between. You want to use them because they will expand your expression and expand your vocabulary. How do you use them? Remember, they are modifying an adjective, modifying a main verb, or modifying a noun. So that is where they're going to go. And don't forget, you can make your own and check them with hugely, beautifully. You can make negative adverbs of degree, and we look through the common mistakes. Oh, I want to thank all the people that sent through the sentences and participated in all the questions. Let me see if there are any more questions here. I've got some sentences. It was immensely funny. It's pretty difficult. It was pretty good. She was rather good than other days. Her cap was pretty good. Very, very nice. Thank you, everyone that's sending. The meal was immensely delicious. Someone says they love immensely. We do too. I hope that. Absolutely. Very nice phrasing there. So that's another good sentence. Thank you, Eri Hatahara. I absolutely enjoyed it. All right. And yes, so that is the end of our class. Thank you for participating. Like I said at the beginning, if you are new to Cambly and don't know what it is a great online platform. It's an app, it's web-based, where you can speak with tutors just like me about anything you need, whether it's grammar, conversation, exam preparation. So please check it out. And I said that I would be giving you a special discount code. So today's special discount code is DEGREE. DEGREE. So please go check it out. Go to Cambly. Use the discount code. I'm not sure of the discount, but it will be good. If you want to learn more with me on Cambly, check out the link in the description. We can do more of this. We can just talk, exam preparation, anything you need. Come check us all out at Cambly. And until we see you in another classroom, I'm going to say bye for now.